The subject we are here to discuss today is unique in the 5,000-year history of Palestine. You are witnessing this today, but you are not a silent witness. You are here to do something about it. Unlike earlier past events, you are now trying to do something, however small it is. What is it about? It's about the expulsion of 3/4 of the Palestinian people from their homes. It's about the theft and robbery of their land, property, and patrimony. It's about the war crimes committed against them continuously. It's also, and this is rarely mentioned, it's about obliterating their memory and identity. It's about destroying their landscape and erasing their cultural and historical landmarks. This is what we call Al-Nakba. In terms of taking over the land and property and replacing the population of the land, the scale in which this happened is unprecedented in Palestine's long history. Neither in the Ottoman conquest in 1517, nor in the Crusades in the 11th century, nor during the spread of Islam in the 7th century, nor during the spread of Christianity in the 1st century, nor during the entry and disappearance of various tribes which made their route into and out of Palestine. It's also unusual in the 20th century itself. At a time when European colonial soldiers packed their bags and headed home, at a time when millions of people became free of the evils of colonialism, imperialism, fascism, Nazism, racism, and apartheid, at this very same time, new Jewish European colonial soldiers marched in the opposite direction from Europe into Palestine to dispossess the people of Palestine and render them homeless. Not only this is unique, but it's also continuous. It's not a traffic accident, which happened a long time ago. It is a process now going for a good part of a century, but thanks to the stubborn determination of the Palestinian people, it has every day diminishing success. The modern history of Palestine is replete with singular adjectives. Al-Nakba is the longest, biggest, continuous, and planned ethnic cleansing operation in the UN history. The occupation of the West Bank and Gaza Strip is the longest occupation in the world since Napoleon campaign in Egypt in 1798. And so on and so on. We can always quote examples of that. But we need to come to grips with the facts of the question, because we need you to be aware of these facts, and on the basis of these facts you can form your opinion and thereafter your action plan. These facts have been covered with a thick layer of myths and falsifications and lies and misinformation, especially in Europe, for over many decades. You have been told that Palestine is a land without people. Now we are 11 million people, half of them in Palestine. You are told that the refugees went on a holiday, left their homes free for the new immigrant occupants. You are told that the partition plan is accepted by the Zionists and rejected by the Palestinians. Let me ask you a simple question. Tomorrow, if you see 100 or 1,000 shiploads coming to the Bay of Biscay, carrying foreign immigrants, and they are supported by a big foreign power, and this foreign power told you, give them half of Biba's country, you will, of course, do not accept. And of course, the immigrants will accept. And that's what happened. So don't fall for this trick anymore. Now I would like to show you some slides, but let me just explain that the Nakba is about the expulsion of people, as I said, taking over their property and erasing their memory. Let us look at some facts. Can I have the first slide, please? Yes, it's already there. All right. Now, this is what Al-Nakba found when he came to Palestine in order to free its people from the Turkish rule and render it independent. He found that Palestine is a very largely Arab country, like any other Arab country next door, like Lebanon, Syria, Egypt, and so on. It has a very small minority of Jews, 56,000. They were living reasonably well among people, and they owned a small slice of the land, less than 2%. And then the Zionists prepared an army of 120,000 people, which is 20% of the total population the British have managed to bring into Palestine. 20%. Spain has a military force of less than 1% of population. United Kingdom and USA has a military force of 1 to 2% of whole population. Here, in this case, the army of the Zionist army was 20% of the population, which goes to say that it is true to say that this is an army wanted to create a nation rather than nation has an army. And of course, this created Nakba. I'm going to show you 1 minute of animation about Al-Nakba, covering the period from the partition plan of November 1947 till the signing of the armistice agreement in the spring of 1949. It's made in steps of 2 week intervals, showing this is the land occupied by the Israelis, the blue one, during the British mandate. With their help, they managed to have about 5.5% of Palestine. And the pink area is the one they occupied in every 2 week intervals during that time. And on the bottom, you get the number of villages depopulated and the number of people depopulated, and the white area is the number of land they occupied. And you can see these flashing yellow points. They are not flashing in this software. Well, which is perhaps as good because they represent a very sad and very criminal thing. They are here? Yes. Oh, all right. Anyway, these are the massacres committed to compel people to leave their homes. And as you can see, in every step of the way, this pink color indicates the land which is occupied by the military forces coming from Europe after the Second World War. And what do we have here? What Palestinians? We have no tanks, we have no arms, we have no wireless, we have no... we are people like here in the Basque Country. Suddenly you find an army descending on you and making people homeless. This is the picture nobody else can deny. Not Ben Gurion, not Olmert, not Tsepi Levni. This is a fact. But they say, this is our land and we came to take it. And hard luck to you. You had to find somewhere else to go. Now, so this is the picture. The red points are the Palestinian villages. This is very fast. The Palestinian villages which have been depopulated. As you can see, 675 villages ethnically cleansed. All the lights have been switched off in this. Palestine became, as you see, a depopulated country, if you compare that picture with the previous one. Where did they go? Here they are. They were expelled and they are put in refugee camps in 602 places in what's left of Palestine, and also in the neighboring countries in Iran, Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon. So in the end, actually this figure should be upgraded. In the end, we have now 5.5 million refugees denied the right to return home, and 2/3 of the Palestinian people. The largest percentage of anywhere in the world of a people who are being displaced. Actually, this figure is underestimate. 2/3 are underestimate, because the figure is 3/4 if you account for the people who have been displaced again in 1967. So, my colleague yesterday, Jamal, showed you the apartheid wall. I wanted to show you just one extra slide in this. Not only this is apartheid wall, which is dissecting what's left of Palestine, which is 20%, it also shows you the hashed blue area is the location of the water aquifer of the West Bank, you can see very well that the purpose of that, among other things, is to siphon off the water of the West Bank, which is estimated at 550 million cubic meters per year. It is not for safety, it is to dissect the West Bank and to prevent, of course, the formation of a state of Palestine, if that is the case. And therefore, we come to the question, is what is the solution to this problem? All right, these are facts which, again, nobody can deny. The solution, here you have an ethnic cleansing problem. How could we reverse that ethnic cleansing? Simple. The answer is simple. How to do it is not so simple. The answer is to make them return home. Why? And how? And what are the reasons for this? There are three. For the Palestinians, the return home is sacred. It's built in their psyche. You cannot tell someone from Saforia, for example, as we have told a joke about this morning, that you come from Romania. He didn't come from Romania. The occupant came from Romania. The Palestinians did not go to Poland and took their homes. The Polish Jews came to take the Palestinian home. They did not go to Russia to fight the Russians there. The Russian Jews came in the opposite direction and took their homes. So there is no way the Palestinians will ever give up their right to return home. There are already half of them are on the territory of Palestine, although under occupation, and the other, almost the other half, is within a band around it in Syria, Lebanon, and Jordan. So, as you can see, many of the Palestinian delegation are third-generation refugees, and you can see that they have not forgotten their home. Neither would you if you are here in the Basque and the same thing, God forbid, happened to you. So that's one thing. The other is, it's legal, of course. I mean, I don't need to recite for you the hundreds of resolutions of 194, which is repeated 135 times already. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights also affirmed the right. Every covenant of human rights, whether it is the European, the American, the African, and the Arab, all of them call for the return of anyone to his home. And that's a natural right. I mean, in Portugal, here next door to you, if you own a home during the Roman times, you become a Roman citizen. And therefore, the attachment to the home and to the land for Palestinians is unquestionable. We don't need to dig into all the, archaeological remains to find the stone to say that we have been here. We don't need to dig into, to reinterpret religious beliefs to make them into like a real estate title deed. We cannot do that. We don't need to do that. It's very simple. It's our homeland, and we lived in it, and we have no intention of giving it up. But I would like to touch upon something with you. When people say, yes, you are right, but there are some possibilities, practical difficulties in the right of return. We made a number of studies on that. I don't think this is correct. It is quite possible to return. Already, 97% of the registered refugees are within 100 kilometers from their home. And in fact, over half of them are within 40 kilometers from home. They could take a bus. They don't have to fly thousands of kilometers away or go on ships for days and days. Some of them actually can see their homes. My friend here from Majd al-Krum, people in Ain Hod, every morning when they wake up, they look at their home across the opposite hill, and they see a Romanian living in their home, and they cannot go there. Of course, all the people in Gaza, we'll come to that, their homes are within a walking distance. And then they tell us that there is no scope, no space. Well, I don't want to spend much time on that, except to tell you, even now, the Jewish Israelis live in the same place, roughly, like the place they lived in during the British Mandate when the Palestinians were in their home. There are only 20% who are outside that area, and 18% of the 20% are living in what was Palestinian towns. That leaves only 2% who are the inhabitants of the kibbutz and mushab, who are in control with all the refugee land, which is the green area. Plus, of course, as you probably know, the army is taking over half of Palestine, in fact. And then they are saying, all right, but all these sites are already built over. We have made a study and we have shown that 90% of the Palestinian village sites are still empty today. My friend here, Itan, showed me yesterday a nice map, which we agree with, that there are about 7 or 8 villages around Tel Aviv, which has been built over completely. Like Sheikh Mohannes, they built Tel Aviv University on top of that. But that accounts for 3% of the villages and 3% of the population. 7% have slight built over area, but 90% are entirely free. People can return to them tomorrow. And therefore, what's preventing the people of Galilee from returning tomorrow? They are now in Syria and Lebanon. I'm sorry, the slide should remove that text, but never mind. And you can see, we made a study and showed where the refugees are today from each district and from each village, how they can return, and we found that they can return with only very few impediments. For example, we made a study, who lives today in the refugee land in the Galilee, in the northern district. We divided them into Ashkenazis from old time, from the Mandate period, and also other Europeans, and then Jews from Arab countries, and Russians, and the remaining Palestinians. As you can see in Galilee, Palestinians are shown in pink. They are quite, spread out in Galilee. Now, these are the present population at the moment. So what would happen if the refugees from Galilee in Syria and Lebanon return? Will it change the picture very much? Is it possible to have them in? The answer is here. Here are the returning refugees, and you see also the same colors. They come from West Bank, Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, and Lebanon. But most of them, of course, are in Lebanon and Syria. And you can see the density population doesn't change very much. There are no overlapping pictures at all, except in cities, which is Acre and Tiberias, and the rest people can return next door to anybody who is there now without any contradiction, assuming, of course, that there will be ability of the Palestinians to return to their homes. So the idea that it is not possible to return is a false one, like many myths and minor fabrications which have been propagated for the last 60 years. In Gaza, the situation is simple, because in Gaza, there are practically no Jews in the southern district, except about 180,000, or 180, less than 200 in 1948, and all of those people here in the south have been totally depopulated. Nobody is left, except very few in Beersheba. And if they return, they will return to a place where it is still very empty. That's all the people who live in the southern district of Israeli citizens. The Palestinians are on the bottom right, but the majority are in 3 main cities, which were Palestinian as well, like Al-Mashdal, Beersheba, and Ashkelon. And then there are few scattered kibbutz. The density of the Jewish Israeli kibbutzim here is no more than 7 persons, like this row, 7 persons per square kilometer. In Gaza, whose land is taken by these, there are 7,000 per square kilometer crowded in Gaza Strip. Cannot go across the border barbed wire actually, to go to their empty land until today.